evening and welcome to Today on One. I'm Maggie for Seattle. In the news tonight, Health Minister amends COVID-19 regulations. We are not corrupt, says NAC chairperson. President Genocide has ignored us for 3 years, says Gab Isaacs. Indonesia launches SME promotion exhibition. And Roundup, Comments Corner, Business on One, Sports and the weather. Now for the news in detail. Against the backdrop of the increasing number of new COVID-19 cases, increasing hospitalizations and deaths, the Minister of Health and Social Services, Dr. Kalumbi Shangula, on the occasion of the 28th COVID-19 public briefing, amended the current health regulations, which will be effective as of the 1st of June 2021 until the 30th of June 2021. Salma Tapopi has this report.
Authorized public gatherings will be reduced from the current 100 to a maximum of 50 people per event, both indoors and outdoors. Public gatherings, including but not limited to weddings, funerals and church events, according to the minister, have shown to be responsible for many infections. Participants in authorized training activities and workshops are therefore encouraged as far as possible to participate via virtual platforms. Curfew time, which is currently between 10 o'clock and 4 o'clock, will remain the same. Spectators at sporting events are limited to 50 persons per event. It is mandatory for spectators to comply with public health measures at all times, while contact sports are prohibited. All travelers entering Namibia are required to produce a SARS-CoV-2 PCR negative result, valid for 7 days from the date of specimen collection. Antigen rapid diagnostic test results will no longer be accepted for entry into Namibia at ports of entry. For all travelers coming from or transiting through hotspot regions such as India, are required to repeat the SARS-CoV-2 PCR test 7 days after arrival in Namibia. Namibian students studying abroad will be exempted from bearing the cost of COVID-19 tests upon departure from Namibia for academic purposes, provided that adequate proof is presented. Travelers returning to Namibia within 7 days will not be required to present a negative SARS-CoV-2 PCR test result from the country of departure. Any person presenting fake SARS-CoV-2 PCR test results will be persecuted. Any non-Namibian who presents fake or forged SARS-CoV-2 PCR test results to an official at any port of entry will be denied entry into Namibia and will be deported at own costs. The public transport regulation remains unchanged. However, the public transport sector is implored to strengthen compliance with public health measures in order to suppress the spread of COVID-19 infections. On COVID-19 related deaths and burials, the minister noted that the current regulation remains unchanged. The embalming of human remains of persons who die of notifiable infectious diseases is prohibited. Posthumous reswabbing of human remains of persons who die of COVID-19 is prohibited, except in specified circumstances as determined by authorized persons. It should, however, be noted that a COVID-19 infection is not a valid reason to forego a post-mortem examination if it's indicated. Burial attendees must disperse immediately after the burial service. The congregation of attendees at the residence of the deceased or any other place for the purpose of meals is strongly discouraged, as such gatherings offer fertile ground for COVID-19 transmission. Shangula is therefore urging members of the public to show their unreserved support and cooperation with these measures.
We are molded with the utmost intricacy, unique and ever-evolving. but we will always need a guiding hand.
The National Arts Council Committee has brushed off the accusations of corruption made against them. NAC Chairperson Patrick Sam said that the allegations of the board members of the NAC being corrupt are malicious and incompetent. Hendrina Kanyola has this report.
Patrick Sam, the chairperson of the Arts Council, has defended the 100,000 Namibian dollars that was awarded to the Namibian Craft Center, where his vice chairperson, Sharon Truder, is working as the general manager. This is after one of the board members raised concern on the issue of corruption and funds being awarded unfairly.
So the first issue is the awarding of a $100,000 contract to the Craft Center. Now, let's give you context to this. There was a call for public institutions that host events, whether it's a state function, to say, where do we get Namibian authenticated goods? And how do we get it real time? Because a lot of these arrangements means we have to drive to many places. So we had a representative from the public institutions come and ask us, how can the Art Council assist us create a catalog? When that decision was made, the person that's accusing us today was part of the council that made that decision. That's why we're saying it's a malicious incompetence for somebody to be part of a decision, approve it, and later on when the tensions rise in the council for some whatever reason, use this as an opportunity to defame our characters as people who were chosen and trusted and re-elected. Because remember, both me and Shireen are the only members that were re-elected by the minister as ordinary members. Then we were entrusted by the council members and we were revoted into our positions again by the council. We've worked too hard. When we came in here, there were no financial audits. This year was the first time that 9 years of financial audits were handed into the Office of the Auditor General. 9 years. That has taken us more than 3 from the first term to get, remember, because there was corruption before us, there was no recordings. We had to hire an external audit company that had to come and give us some type of financials.
Later, Hang Narab, the board member who raised the issue of the corruption on the Arts Council, said that Patrick Sam should start telling the truth and said that there are now documents filed that can show how projects have been approved.
Patrick Sam, chairperson of the council, is presenting bursaries committee to the council, while the chairperson of the bursary committee is sitting in the same meeting. So, where is the documentation? You say something, you say, there is a letter. And no, there are no letters like that. I was in the board, I know. It was just, I say so, and therefore we take it to the next level. All right, the issue of the website. Why is the documentation saying it's an e-commerce website? If it was the MOU that you and Germany signed. I can't believe you are going to speak up on this any longer when you can see clearly that, you know, it can only go one way. It's an ACC now. So you're going to have to answer very basic questions there. So why does it say website when you say that it was something else? You signed the MOU, and the other person to sign is Shireen. And no one in the council sees anything wrong with that. After the vice chairperson signed for, not only signed for the Art Craft Center, but continue reporting for the Craft Center. Even on that website, the first contact person is Shireen. Now you're standing with this issue that is clearly corruption, standing with it, defending it, and you're saying that I only brought it up now. We are recording those council meeting minutes, and we are doing all the recordings. Be careful. Don't say that when you know that I've been giving you guys hell about this the whole year.
Sherwin Tudor said that this came as a surprise to her that one of the board members has raised those issues, stating that this could have been avoided if they discussed it internally.
What puzzles me is we as the craft center, we have open audits, we have clear audits. That's not, we've got allocated funding. When this assignment or this thing was assigned, when this project was assigned to the craft center, we engaged in correspondence. When I drew up the terms of reference, it was sent to Mr. Narib. It was sent to the marketing people or the marketing committee to give their input into that terms of reference. What started out as a craft catalogue, we then eventually decided to have an e-commerce where we have a catalogue, we have craft and arts, and this is contrary, and I'm a bit surprised at a person who is in the digital space. You know, if he had just come to me and said, Shireen, why is this thing taking so long? What are the issues? What are the problems? Why are you doing this? And you know, if you had just come to ask me. Additionally, when we asked for people to submit their proposals to do the website, I had also sent to him to say, do you have any companies that you can refer direct to us? Please do not interrupt me. Can you please have the respect? Can you please have the respect accorded to you? Can you? Really, this is really... No, he has been part of the decision and of the process. So we have to ask ourselves, why does it have to go to sensationalism? Why was it not approached and say, I'm unhappy with this, that. Then we could have talked it through. They are in the marketing and say, let's do it differently. But nothing came out. It was blown out for really effect with the minister's office. And the next thing, it's now all in the media and for effect. So I don't know what that ulterior motive is.
Other artists who attended the press conference say that they are very concerned on how public funds are being distributed and urge the National Arts Council to get its house in order.
Namibia is bleeding. Women and children no longer feel safe in the land of their birth. This is not due to war, but due to gender-based violence perpetrated by mostly men. This call is to our fathers, brothers and sons to unite against gender-based violence. Let us come together and say a big no to gender-based violence. Together, we can build a safer and better society for all. My Namibia, my country, my pride.
Winter is here. Let's warm you up by giving you a chance to win one of 12 gas heaters and accessories or a grand prize of 50,000 Namibian dollars. To enter the Winter Warmers competition, simply buy any combination of 2 or more of the following participating brands: Baker's, Five Roses, Fresh Pack, Frisco, or Hug in a Mug, and SMS Winter to 445. And remember to keep your till slip as proof of purchase. Promotions run from the 1st of May to the 31st of July. For more information and entry details, visit 99fm.com.na. T's and C's apply.
The Ovaherero Traditional Authority and Nama Traditional Leaders Association held a peaceful demonstration on the alleged genocide agreement between Namibia and Germany. They marched to the Parliament to hand over a petition to the Speaker of the National Assembly, Peter Kachavivi, but Kachavivi was nowhere to be found and instead sent the acting secretary to receive the petition. They also handed over a petition to President Hage Geingob that was received by the minister in the presidency. Leston Waller has more.
On 15th of May 2017, President Kenkop invited the leaders of the victim communities to State House for consultations on how best to proceed. During this meeting, broad agreement was reached on issues such as that the Namibian delegation, consisting of a Namibian government component and a victims group component, would be composed to enter negotiations with Germany as contemplated for by the noted resolution of Parliament, and that the leaders of the victim communities would speak for themselves. The latest appeal by Nama and Ovaherero leaders to meet the President of Namibia was in April 2019 to find out what happened to the commitment of 2017. Until now, we have heard nothing from the Office of the President.
I am sent by His Excellency the President to come and receive the petition. Now, the reason why the President is not here, I have not seen in the history of our country or in any other jurisdiction that presidents are subjected to receive petitions. And we should not expect or make an exception when it comes to this president to come and receive petitions in person while he has ministers like myself in the presidency or any other minister that he would have asked to receive the petition on his behalf.
The Ovaherero Genocide Foundation's Joyce Muzengwa said that President Hage Kenkop hijacked the negotiations and excluded the affected communities.
We wanted to talk to the president because the president hijacked a task that was accorded to the legislature. That process was given to the legislature, a motion was tabled, the House acceded to the motion and accepted the motion. The executive hijacked the process, made it a bilateral process which has nothing to do with the executive. The state or the government has to step in and agreed to step in as a mediator or as an observer when the negotiations take place between the affected communities and the German government. So that is why, but with all due respect, the head of state was elected. But the head of state, even in 2019, when he was campaigning for the office he holds now, we not once did we see this within his manifesto or wherever, but then he comes, takes these negotiations or takes these reparations and sees it through an economic lens to benefit his whatever programs. What he could do is to go and arrest the ministers or maybe with him that looted with him, that bankrupted the state now that he cannot carry out the projects that he wants to carry out.
The Ovaherero Traditional Authority and the Nama Traditional Leaders Association also handed a petition to the office of the Speaker of the National Assembly and stated that Germany must recognize the killing of the Namas and Hereros as a genocide.
Germany still has no intention to recognize that what von Troda did constitutes genocide in terms of international law. Therefore, Germany did not commit a crime against humanity and has no intention to apologize for any crime of genocide, especially not to the descendants of the victim communities. It therefore follows that Germany will not pay any form of reparations, especially not to descendants of the victim communities.
And thank you so much for the peaceful demonstration that you have undertaken. And thank you so much for giving me the courtesy to receive this petition. And I want to give you my word that I will make sure that this petition will reach the office of the Speaker to be addressed in the committees as established by the National Assembly.
The affected communities want to be part of the negotiations and have rejected the current deal between Namibia and Germany.
The Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia, in collaboration with the Ombak Gallery and the Namibia Craft Centre, today launched a 14-day Indonesia's Small Medium Enterprise Promotion Exhibition to mark the 30 years of Indonesia-Namibia diplomatic relations. Salma Tapopi has this report.
Cutting the ribbon at the opening event, Ambassador of Indonesia to Namibia notes that the exhibition is a promotion of Indonesian SME products, which will be showcased at the Namibia Crafts Center from the 28th to the 10th of June 2021.
Actually, this is just to show the people here in Namibia about the Indonesian product. So we are not mainly for selling, but we just only showing the products. But somebody like to buy, they can buy. The material is mostly from Indonesia. We use all what we have in Indonesia. It's a handmade, homemade productions. It's a small, medium enterprise. The fabric, like the ones that we have, is like batik. The material also produced in Indonesia. And batik is one of what, as a trademark for Indonesia. It's been quite a centuries that Indonesia is using batiks. I'm looking forward for next month. We're going to have a batik made, how to make batiks with the Namibian materials. So we'd like to invite the Namibian who are interested to making this. We have very limited seats, only 28 seats that we have be able to provide. Next month on the 6th to 7th of July, we have a workshop. We call it workshop. So there will be teachers coming to Namibia to teach how to make batik using the Namibian materials.
Development advisor at the event notes that there is a lot of potential for Namibia-Indonesia business collaborations, encouraging the leveraging of Africa-Asia opportunities.
My name is Jürgen Wurst. I'm here working for the management. I'm actually work in Frankfurt for Germany, and my job is to bring people together and build network and platforms. I'm here to bring Asians as well to the Namibia Craft Center and to build bridges between the countries. So I'm very happy that we had India 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and now we start with Indonesia. So for Africa, it's a good opportunity to come in network and business with other cultures. And Indonesia is one of the strongest economies in Asia, with 270 million people. So that's why there's a lot of business opportunities when we are having a close connection. That's why we even invited Indonesia. After the pandemic, everybody's looking for new opportunities. That is a good chance to start new in the world. That's why I'm happy with Indonesia. And I can imagine that we have Malaysia next, or Thailand, because this is for Namibia even a good connection, because they are strong and powerful economies, and they are young people, they have good entrepreneurs, the same like Namibia. This could be a fantastic chance to have more friendship and partnership.
The Indonesian embassy in the coming months further plans to host a fashion show showcasing Indonesian traditional attire.
Great combo deal from Choppies! Choppies, great value for your money.
In other leading stories, the Ministry of Mines and Energy has reviewed the price of fuel for the month of June. In a media statement, the ministry noted that oil prices will continue to remain sensitive due to the uncertainty surrounding the Iran nuclear negotiations with the United States, as well as the COVID-19 restrictions in Asia. The Iranian nuclear deal might include the lifting of oil sanctions on the Islamic country. This, according to the ministry, has the potential to increase oil supply into the global market, pushing prices down in the process as suppliers are forced to compete for consumers of their products. In addition, COVID-19 cases are still creating major challenges in some parts of Asia, meaning that the oil demand in this key region is not yet expected to recover to its optimal level in the foreseeable future. These geopolitical events and public health situation have a direct influence on the movement of demand and supply in the global oil market and the pricing speculations that accompany it. The ministry further noted that the Ministry of Finance has approved an increase of 7 cents a litre in the road user levy on fuel, which is collected by the Road Funds Administration for road infrastructure financing. The road user levy on both petrol and diesel is currently at 141 cents a litre. The approval of the Ministry of Finance means that the new levy will be 148 cents a litre, effective from the 1st of June 2021. The current review also indicated a slight destabilization in especially the barrel prices of oil, whose negative effects have also outweighed the positive effects of the strengthening of the Namibia dollar against that of the US. The current review has therefore recorded an under-recovery of 49 cents on petrol and an under-recovery of 23 cents on diesel. These values are still relatively low, and the ministry has thus resolved to keep the fuel pump prices for June 2021 unchanged, while still accommodating the road user levy increase of 7 cents a litre in the unchanged prices through a special adjustment process in the calculations. The fuel pump prices in Walfish Bay will remain 13 Namibia dollars 15 cents per litre for petrol and 13 Namibia dollars 18 cents per litre for diesel. The prices across the rest of the country will remain unchanged at their current respective levels. And TransNamib has confirmed that a derailment occurred this morning at approximately 6 a.m. at the Kransberg station. A locomotive and 4 empty wagons were derailed in the incident. No persons were injured during the incident. The company expects the line to be restored by tomorrow. This is the second incident in a week, as on Tuesday this week, TransNamib has lost 9 tankers of oil in an explosion between Brakwater and Elisenheim after the tankers derailed, causing heavy fires. Speaking to Today on One, Abigail Rabenheimer, the manager for corporate communications at TransNamib, said the derailing has become a big concern for the company.
Hey, this is Script, and you can catch me on One Africa TV on Sundays at 8 p.m. as we chat to Namibian changemakers, innovators, entrepreneurs, and doers who are changing the game. 99 FM Game Changers is supported by Paratus. Limiting potential is not an option. Think big.
Are you a CMS member? With HospiCash 100, you can get up to 100,000 Namibian dollars cover with a 30,000 limit per event from as little as 100 Namibian dollars a month. We understand that being in hospital can be stressful. That is why with HospiCash 100, you can cover your non-medical expenses by receiving cash payouts when you are in hospital, so you can recover stress-free. Interested? SMS your name and HospiCash to 555 and we will call you back.
Joseph Shifeni is standing by for today's Business on One and Economic Indicators.
Welcome to Business on One. I'm Joseph Shifeni. The Executive Director of the National Planning Commission, NPC, Valencia Uras, has called on public-private partnerships to remedy the challenges in addressing the national housing backlog. Joseph Ilonga has more.
At a recent stakeholder meeting on land and housing delivery targets of the Harambee Prosperity Plan 2, the executive director of the NPC, during her presentation on financing options and opportunities for delivering urban housing, described public-private partnerships as a potential funding methodology to address the national housing backlog, further adding that the housing crisis is a national challenge and more innovative funding methodologies are required to address the national housing backlog.
Government have been talking of PPPs, but to this date, there's no sign of PPP arrangement in place. So we need to ask ourselves, what are the remedies, what are the challenges that we are facing to access that potential way of funding our projects. And then pension funds, we have a lot of money in our pension funds, whether it's a GIPF or other private pension funds. How do we release more funding than what is currently allowed through the legislations? We cannot continue relying on government to provide funding for these needs. National housing is a national challenge, not just a government challenge, although the greater responsibility is placed on government to facilitate that. GRN capacity is stretched and limited. Therefore, innovative funding methodologies are required, and from NPC's side, we remain ready to embark on a more aggressive exploratory process to funding housing, especially in urban areas. But as the discussion now also just took place, it also really to also look at how do we do it also in rural areas.
The GIPF reported that through its developmental investment policy, it has committed 5% of its assets under management, which is 132 billion Namibia dollars, that is geared towards developmental investments, of which infrastructure is the lion's share. Sarah Mezwe-Engo, the manager for alternative investments at GIPF, expressed that for several years, GIPF has strived to address the issue of pension-backed home loan schemes, but unfortunately, due to the pension fund's regulatory policy, GIPF is restricted when it comes to providing such loan schemes.
So often we criticize about the pension-backed home loan scheme at GIPF. It is something we've been trying to address for 3.5 years. The truth of the matter is we are a defined benefit pension fund. What we've done is we've set up a tender that's in the market. A lot of the banks here have participated. It's called an innovative end-user funding scheme. We've had discussions with the Center for Affordable Housing Africa to understand what other innovative means to access end-user funding exist there, and let's try and see if we can do that in Namibia. Very early on in 2011, when First Capital Housing Trust Fund was established, the idea was to do a pension-backed home loan scheme. But because of the reasons I mentioned, we quickly had to stop because we are regulated by NAMFISA. We are a regulated entity. So as much as we want to be catalytic and innovative, we are restricted by regulation. And that's why First Capital could not get off the ground to what it does. But because of this regulation bound by the Pension Funds Act, First Capital's housing or rate at which they lend is lower than the banks because it is repo +4. So it is lower than the banks, it's not higher. But it's restricted in the sense that the members are so many and they are over indebted, and a lot of them can't access normal funding. So people have the means to afford. If they had to go to the bank, their pre-approval would be high, but the reality is they can't access this housing. It's something that pains us. We have several principals who, when they retire, they will show you their fund credit. They are going to get 1.4 million or 1.8 million. And they tell us, what must I do with this money when I'm 60 years old? I want a house today. So it's a very painful matter and a situation that we really would like to resolve.
Wiras also expressed that, with the government being financially overburdened in supporting housing development projects over the years, the government has also seen a drastic decline in external financing through grants from development partners that can be attributed to Namibia's classification as an upper middle income country.
That's all we have for you. Join us again tomorrow for another edition of Business on One.
Now we look at Comments Corner, your daily dose of comments from the hottest social media pages. The presidency has announced that President Hage Geingob and the First Lady, Madame Monica Geingob, tested positive for COVID-19. The President and the First Lady are in good spirits and self-isolating at their residence. Ioannis says getting COVID-19 is normal, adding that we should all fight it like everyone else. Olivia Lucas asked whether they will not be flown out for treatment, wishing them a speedy recovery. Jonah wants to know whether they have been vaccinated. Now let's have a look at some of the well wishes from members of the public. That is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day only on Today on One.
It's Spar Rewards winner card time, and you could be turning your shopping into one of 50 limited edition Hyundai Grand i10s. Plus, get incredible deals like Nescafe Recoffee for just $74.99 and Cool Baked Beans in tomato sauce for only $10.49. Remember, every participating product you buy gets you another entry to win when you swipe your Spar Rewards card. Spar Rewards winner card. Now on.
Charo Musiandaka is standing by for today's Sports on One.
Welcome to Sports on One. I'm Charo Musiandaka. Partnered 4 years ago with Esco Group as their kit manufacturers, the Namibia Rugby Referee Society announced a new partnership with Buco Namibia for the supply of sporting gear valued at 300,000 Namibian dollars for the next 3 years. Let's cross over to Castro Olumbu for more on this story.
We are proud to be a sponsorship and a part of the team and a lovely jersey that is in front of us. And we would like the public to support the tournament and enjoy it and keep safe, and all the sportsmen enjoy your sport. And we are really proud on the jersey and the logos and the team who manufactured it, Exco. I think it is great, nicely done.
We're involved with the Namibian Rugby Referee since 2016, and we signed in cooperation with Buco, who came on board as well now this year, a new 3-year agreement from 2021 till 2023. So this is just the launch of the new kit today. We would really like to thank the referees. We got a lot of mileage from them in the past, and obviously that's why when they asked us to get involved again, we immediately said yes. And we're very thankful for Buco as well, who came on board to assist us. It's a big financial layout, and especially in these times today. So every help is always welcome, and we would also like to invite any other companies and sponsors to come on board, so that we can give the referees what they deserve and what they work for.
At the sponsorship announcement, Chairman of Namibia Rugby Referee Society, William Steenkamp, showed appreciation towards Buco Hardware, stating that with this sponsorship, the Namibia Rugby Referee Society will produce better quality products on the field of play.
It is a challenge for the Referee Society, not only in Namibia but all over the world, to cope and to deliver as requested from our clients, we need to put the product on the table which can be used by our clients. We have to put the product on the table to be trusted. With Buco and Exco on board, I believe this is a step in that right direction. And thank you, Buco and Exco, for coming on board and assist us in this regard. This sponsorship is only at the moment a kit sponsor. Hopefully it can deliver or unfold to something else, because we need some much more than other than kit. And I can tell you that something special is coming from the Referee Society, and with the assistance of these sponsors and maybe somebody else, if anybody can come on board, new developments are on the line, I can promise you.
Steenkamp also noted the importance of having a kit as a referee. The country currently has less than 40 registered rugby referees, but the Rugby Referee Society chairman has expressed desire to produce more local referees in the country.
Everybody needs an identity. Having kit give us, the referees, that identity, and that's unique to us. That kit are our identity, and we are proud to wearing that kit. At the moment we have 33 registered referees countrywide, but it's too little. We need at least 120 referees to cover all matches in Namibia every Saturday. It is our responsibility to train referees and resource referees, source referees. So our responsibility, Referee Society's responsibility through Namibia Rugby Union and through World Rugby, it is our responsibility to train referees and develop referees. So that's what we are busy with. So we are doing those courses and train referees from grassroots level. But as I said earlier, there are some other developments on the way in terms of development, and it will be announced shortly once things are finalized.
In their remarks, manager at Buco Namibia and representative from kit manufacturer Exco Group are proud to be on board with the Namibia Rugby Referee Society, further urging more corporates to get involved in sports sponsorships, which will assist in the development of sports in the country.
That's all we have for you tonight. Join us again tomorrow for Sports on One, and don't forget to follow us on our social media pages. Back to you, Maggie.
Thanks, Charo, for that update. Time now for the weather forecast.
The interior will be partly cloudy and mild to warm in the south, elsewhere sunny and warm to hot. The coast will be partly cloudy and mild to warm with fog patches at times. The wind will be light to fresh southwesterly. Now a look at the minimum and maximum temperatures across the country and beyond.
That is all from us this evening. Don't forget to follow us on our social media pages. From me, Maggie Forciero, and the rest of the team, it's good night.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Welcome to the Royal Hustler on 99 FM. Our Royal Hustler this time around hardly needs any introduction.
It's provided pragmatic solutions to complex problems and changed the trajectory of the lives of many young people, including my life.
One of the foundation's core objectives.
Needs and the contribution levels that we need are both financial and non-financial. I'll use an example. At the moment we're setting up, we're going to construct a building that we're going to call Project Be Free. And it's going to have the full spectrum of services for young people.
Early this morning, woke up holding my head, hearing my heartbeat all night long. Shades of this motel keeping me in bed, reading the news, just trying to stay strong. I need to just get up and take a deep breath, keep it together, 'cause it's a beautiful day. Sun on my face, feeling okay. Don't let it get away. It's a beautiful day. Feel so proud, screaming out loud. It's a beautiful day. Beautiful day. Feel so proud, screaming out loud. It's a beautiful day.
COVID-19 affects people very differently. Many people show no symptoms at all, but some are hospitalized for weeks. So what does the disease do to your body? The coronavirus enters through the mouth, nose or eyes. It then usually attaches itself to cells lining the nose, throat, airways or lungs. It can turn these cells into factories that multiply and spread the virus. For the majority, a fever, cough and breathlessness are as bad as it gets. But the virus can damage the small blood vessels lining the lungs and initiate clotting. The alveoli are tiny air sacs where oxygen goes into the blood. If they become inflamed, it can trigger pneumonia. Seriously ill patients need to be given oxygen as the lungs fill with fluid and debris.
I legit couldn't breathe. My oximeter was measuring under 88% oxygen levels, which is very dangerous. And the only time I ever thought my life was in danger was at that point.
COVID-19 doesn't just affect the lungs. It can also disrupt the immune system, which is used by the body to fight illnesses. Cytokines are part of the immune system that find and signal infections. For some people with severe COVID-19, this system can go into overdrive. If too many cytokines build up, it can cause an overreaction that damages healthy cells. This is called a cytokine storm for the most severe cases. COVID-19 can lead to seizures or even a coma. It can also cause brain problems that lead to strokes. The immune system overreacting can cause clots that stop the blood supply to parts of the brain. Brain inflammation, psychosis and dementia-like symptoms can also affect seriously ill patients. The average length of the illness is 14 days, but many people have symptoms for much longer. Breathing problems and post-viral fatigue last for months in some cases.
I cannot walk for long simply because I will feel a little bit short of breath and I feel the need to sit down. And that's something that has never happened to me before.
Some of the people who are most likely to develop severe symptoms are older adults and those with underlying health conditions. It's not fully known how anyone will react to COVID-19 until they get it. So it's important for everyone to follow health guidance. What precautions are you taking to stay safe?
Omba Arts Trust is not just an organization for me. I think of it in the form of a person, a mother and a friend I have walked and grew with. A friend whom I've traveled many remote and dusty roads. A sister who provided so much needed support during times of fear and uncertainty. There is a saying in Damara for people such as Omba, which is which simply means someone who will, with love, exchange your lean piece of meat with their fat one. It might sound simple when translated, but when used towards a loved and appreciated person, it gives such honor. It describes a person who will do everything to make sure you are taken care of. Besides, we all know how the Damaras love their meat.
Good. Ja, nu moet je bietjie meer reg wees, né? Soos die boere hulle mielies plat.
Yeah. I have seen Omba grow and turn into a light of hope for Namibians all over Namibia. I have seen women and men grow as individuals, becoming respected members of their communities, but also valuable providers of their families. I have seen people with no hope in their eyes light up when they see Omba arrive to fulfill a promise which was made and which they did not believe will be kept. I have seen women dance and sing for hours until the dust from their feet covers us all because the old friend has arrived. I've seen women standing up in front of a large number of people and express their hopes and dreams. I've seen people who have never left their village travel hours and hours to other countries and share their culture and experiences. I have seen children grow and become young women and men before my very eyes. Omba has been the sister holding hands throughout it all. Omba has built valuable and strong relationship with communities, empowering both women and men, but the impact on women can be seen and felt most sincerely. The work with the women has such a ripple effect all over the whole village, most especially the young. Omba has taught them to fish. As times grow tougher and much more difficult, money becomes scarce. Environment around us changes and nothing will ever be the same again. In times like this is when we realize the value of a friend like Omba. It provides hope, constant support, reliable income, and keeping us all together, keeping our pots filled and our fires burning. A motivation to do better, live better, and expect better. If one day the unthinkable happens and Omba is no more, it will be a sad time for our Namibian rural population. Therefore, let's keep the light burning at all cost.
Ons die Sanmense is die eerste mense in die wêreld wat vandag agter gaan staan. Omba is nou die water wat vir ons nat maak, dat onze wortels mooi groeien, dat ons vruchten kan brengen, kos kan brengen. Omba gee vir ons werk en van daaraf lewe ons.
It's just an amazing story that ostrich eggshell beads, 72,000 years ago, the ancestors of the San were making ostrich eggshell beads, and today in the 2020s, Junko women are still making those beads pretty much in the same way. And the work has evolved from fairly traditional products, this probably would have been worn like this, into something as sophisticated and contemporary as this necklace from the waterfall range. So here we are bringing the necklace to this gallery in Windhoek, and it then gets sold to customers in Europe, in America, and generating income for women, Junko women back in the Kalahari. So it's just an amazing thread of history that goes to this ostrich egg, to this contemporary jewellery. This basket I absolutely love. It's a finely woven basket in natural dyes. This asymmetry is very unique to Namibian baskets, and we've been working with these women, doing workshops and helping them evolve into these incredibly fine baskets. We've worked with the women developing different palettes, and there's another one with a slightly more yellow palette, but considered are the best baskets in Africa. What we're showing you in this short video is really a long journey of working together with rural communities, reviving ancient traditions, turning them into contemporary world-class products, and supporting the livelihoods of over 400 artisans. Even during COVID-19, we've been helping our sand communities with food and distribution of tippy taps. What we need to do now is to honour the trust that has been put in us over the last 30 years, to support marginalised sand communities and the livelihoods of rural women around Namibia. Your donation will help us get our 400 artisans back to work as soon as possible so that they can feed their families. The lives of their 2,000 family members will directly benefit from this. Please help us raise $50,000 by contributing to the Omba Artisan C19 Support Fund. No matter how big or small, this will make a difference in the lives of our artisans during COVID-19. Thank you.